You have financial habits that keep you poor. 99% of people have habits that keep them poor, and it's not their fault. We've all been programmed to be poor. But if you keep searching for answers, you'll find a solution. Do your best to eliminate these habits from your life, and it's not easy. But do you want to die rich or die poor? What I'm about to say is something you should repeat to yourself every night before bed, so you can reprogram your mind. Have you ever imagined uncovering the secrets of the greatest minds in the world? Hello, everyone. Welcome to the channel. Today, we're diving deep into one of the most impactful books on personal finance, Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. This book has sold millions of copies worldwide and has changed countless lives. But what makes it so special? It's not just about money, it's about mindset, about how the rich think differently from the poor and the middle class. And here's the most interesting part. Kiyosaki learned these lessons from two dads. One, his biological father, who was highly educated but always struggled financially. The other, his best friend's father, who was a wealthy entrepreneur and became his financial mentor. Throughout this video, we'll explore the book's key lessons, with practical examples you can apply to your own life. So, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and let's get started. 1. The rich mindset versus the poor mindset. The first major lesson from the book is about mindset. Kiyosaki grew up hearing completely different advice from his two dads. The poor dad, who was very intelligent and well-educated, always said, "Study hard, get good grades, and find a secure job." That's the advice most of us hear, right? But the rich dad had a completely different perspective. He said, "Don't work for money, make money work for you." While the poor dad relied on a salary and was stuck in the rat race, working harder and harder to pay bills, the rich dad invested in assets that generated passive income. He didn't depend on a job. He created income streams that worked without him needing to be present. Here's the key difference. The poor and middle class work for money, while the rich make money work for them. And it all starts with a shift in mindset. You need to stop thinking like an employee and start thinking like a business owner or investor. 2. Assets versus liabilities. The key to wealth. Another fundamental concept in the book is the difference between assets and liabilities. Kiyosaki defines assets as anything that puts money in your pocket, such as rental properties, dividend-paying stocks, profitable businesses, or even royalties from books and music. Liabilities, on the other hand, are things that take money out of your pocket, like luxury cars, big houses, credit card debt, and loans. Here's a practical example. Many people think their home is an asset, but in reality, it's a liability.
Why?
Because it generates expenses, property taxes, maintenance, utility bills, and more. On the other hand, a rental property is an asset because it generates monthly income. The rich dad taught Kiyosaki to focus on acquiring assets, while the poor dad accumulated liabilities, thinking they were investments. And that's one of the reasons the poor dad always struggled financially. So, the question you need to ask yourself is, am I acquiring assets or liabilities? If most of your financial choices are liabilities, it's time to rethink your strategy. 3. Financial education. What schools don't teach. Kiyosaki strongly criticizes the lack of financial education in schools. He says people spend years studying to get a job, but never learn how to manage money. And that's a huge problem because, without financial education, you're vulnerable to poor decisions, like accumulating debt or investing in things you don't understand. The rich dad taught that you need to understand how money works, how to invest, and how to protect yourself from risks. After all, it's not how much you earn but how much you save and invest that determines your wealth. For example, two people might earn the same salary, but one becomes rich by investing in assets, while the other stays stuck in the rat race because they spend everything on liabilities. Here's a practical tip. Start educating yourself financially. Read books, watch videos, take courses. The more you know about money, the more control you'll have over your financial life. 4. Work to learn, not just to earn money. Another powerful lesson from the book is, work to learn, not just to earn money. Robert Kiyosaki started his career earning very little, but he focused on acquiring valuable skills that would help him build wealth in the future. He took jobs that taught him sales, management, leadership, and even how to handle rejection. These skills were crucial for him to become a successful investor and entrepreneur. Here's the key point. Many people focus only on salary. They choose jobs that pay well but don't offer opportunities for growth or learning. And in the long run, that can be a big mistake. Why? Because the real value of a job isn't just the money you earn but the knowledge and experience you gain. For example, imagine two people. One works a high-paying job that's repetitive and doesn't require new skills. The other works a lower-paying job but gets training, networking opportunities, and the chance to learn about business and investing. Which one will be better prepared for the future? The second, of course. The rich dad always said, "Your greatest asset is your mind. If you train it well, it can create immense wealth." And that means you need to invest in yourself. Learn new skills, take courses, attend workshops, read books. The more you know, the more opportunities you'll have. Here's a practical example. If you work for a company, don't just think about your salary. Think about what you're learning. Are you developing leadership skills? Making valuable connections? Learning how the business works? These are the things that will prepare you for the next step, whether it's a better job, your own business, or investments. And if you're starting from scratch, don't be afraid to take lower-paying jobs that offer learning opportunities. Remember, you're building the foundation for your future. And as Kiyosaki says, money is just an idea. If you train your mind, you can create wealth in ways you never imagined. 5. The power of financial independence. Finally, the ultimate goal of all this is to achieve financial independence. But what does that really mean? It means having enough income to cover your expenses without needing to work. And how do you do that? By acquiring assets that generate passive income. Kiyosaki teaches that financial independence isn't about being a millionaire, it's about having freedom. Freedom to live the life you want, without depending on a paycheck. Freedom to spend more time with your family, travel, or simply do what you love. Here's a practical example. Imagine you own a rental property that generates $3,000 a month. If your monthly expenses are $3,000, you've achieved financial independence. You no longer need to work to pay your bills. Of course, this doesn't happen overnight, but it's a goal you can reach with planning and discipline. The secret lies in acquiring assets. Remember the difference between assets and liabilities we talked about earlier? Assets are things that put money in your pocket, like rental properties, dividend-paying stocks, or businesses that run without you needing to be there. The more assets you have, the closer you'll be to financial independence. But here's the challenge. To acquire assets, you need to change your mindset. Instead of spending your money on liabilities like luxury cars or expensive clothes, you need to invest in things that will generate income in the future. And that takes patience and discipline. Kiyosaki also emphasizes that financial independence isn't a destination but a journey. You don't need to be a millionaire to start feeling free. Even if you can cover 50% of your expenses with passive income, you're on the right track. And the most important thing, financial independence is possible for anyone. It doesn't matter where you come from or how much you earn today. What matters is your mindset, your choices, and your willingness to learn and grow. So, start today. Set your goals, acquire assets, and educate yourself financially. Freedom is within your reach. So, those are the key lessons from Rich Dad Poor Dad. Change your mindset, invest in assets, educate yourself financially, and work to learn, not just to earn money. If you apply these lessons to your life, you'll be on the right path to achieving financial independence. If you enjoyed this summary, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel for more content like this. Let me know in the comments which lesson resonated most with you and how you plan to apply it in your life. See you in the next video.